Today is Monday, which means it is the Q&A, the free Q&A for the group. So if you have any questions at all about how to get more leads, turn those leads into students, and how to keep those students longer, maybe even build up a team to replace yourself and be able to take a month-long vacation without everything falling apart, drop those questions in the chat or go ahead and unmute yourself, and we'll get this thing kicked off. Master Mertens, you ready?
Yeah, that's good. I see. I guess that's Kevin. How do you respond to cold inquiries, emails, messages, Facebook without explaining too much? Well, that's a fantastic question. Are you going first?
Sure. Well, what I think better clarification. What is the inquiry?
Yes.
We get several types.
And I guess the question is all of them, right? Because we run ads, people see our Google.
Time out though. You got to respond to different questions differently. So give me an example.
How much?
Oh, thanks for reaching. All right. Okay. One more question. Got to go one on what platform?
Email.
Okay. How much are your lessons? Hey, thanks for reaching out. I would love to give you all the information and answer all of your questions. What's your best contact number?
Yeah. So rule number one, don't battle back and forth with text. I think all of us are trying to we're trying to leverage text either one, two ways, everything being automated where we hope it works, or you just trying to have a meaningful conversation via text, and it's all wrong. Matter of fact, what I would recommend is what Master Pesky just suggested, and that is get them on the phone, schedule a time to speak with them. But whenever somebody asks, typically the initial questions they ask isn't necessarily a supercharged question. Like, for example, I was just looking at some comments made to some of the ads that we're running here in Jacksonville. And the questions are, how much is it after the trial? Or well, how much is it after whatever it is? I mean, yeah. But you got to keep in mind, the question of price typically isn't a real question. It's an invitation to start a dialogue. Because the truth of the matter is, they don't know what they're asking about. And it's hard in terms of the tuition price. If you do give them a price, we don't know how they're seeing this. So right. The goal is when they're online, get them offline and get them offline with the conversation. But typically, my experience has taught me when people ask for, so you need help with that. But before we explain our tuition options, hey, who are the lessons for, you or someone else? And once they tell you who it's for, then the conversation begins. But it's way back in the 70s. I'm a baby boomer, guys, and way back in the 70s, your opening line was, "What's your sign?" The truth is that's their opening line. The clients and future customers, their opening line is one of three things. Number one is, ready? What do you teach? Like they know what they're looking for. Second, how much is it? Like they already have a preconceived idea of what it should be. And third is, when are your classes? All three, if you answer straight away, you're not going to go anywhere. But I want you to realize what these are. These are examples of questions used to start a meaningful conversation. So take charge. Typically when as a client, I'm talking about you guys, as a client in any other service or industry, think about the questions you ask. Well, how much is it? And if you think about why you asked that question, it was really to start a conversation. Because most people don't have a price in mind. They don't have a schedule in mind. They just don't know how to start the conversation, hoping that you will. So answer that question loosely and then have the meaningful conversation. Did that help you, Kevin, or did that sound like a bunch of gibberish?
No, that's exactly what I was expecting. I just didn't know what that transition would be. But yeah, just, we have the answer for you. What's the best way to contact you? I think is a very easy transition into getting them on the phone.
But hold on.
But I have a follow-up to that then.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. Go ahead and finish. Basically, my follow-up question was going to be, now we're running our ads, and yeah, everyone's asking, hey, where, location, what's the price? What's the price? And I have 100 of these.
Yeah.
Right. So
there's number one, you want to be ultra direct. Don't ask them questions where you give them control of the conversation and how you'll move forward. For example, what you just said a moment ago is, what is the best way to contact you? You will get the path of least resistance from them, where they're draining you of information and you're left holding nothing in your hand. For example, oh, well, email works best for me. Text works best for me. I'm not going to do it. I will not do it. We refuse, because again, over 5 locations, over many years of doing it this way, the results are in. It goes nowhere. Now, on rare occasion, it might work out, but it's just not worth all the headache and the attention it takes. So, if I can't get you on the phone, you don't qualify as a potential member. Sorry, it's not going to work out. So, if it's an email, what's your best contact number is the finishing line, not what's the best way to communicate, because they're going to say, oh, email works. In fact, sometimes we'll ask, what's your best contact number? And they'll say, well, email works best for me. Our reply to that is fantastic. But again, there's a lot of information to cover, and it's easiest to do it by phone. So here's my phone number. If it's not good for me to reach out to you, you can reach out to me whenever you're ready. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day. Kick them to the curb. It's not going to work out, because they're trying to control the relationship from the beginning, and that's not the person you're going to sign up.
Okay? People who are really good in business never come across as though they're desperate for business.
Right.
And I think to appease these inquiries, these low-level questions is a poor way of you establishing yourself as the ultimate authority. So get them on the phone. Now, if you're uncomfortable on the phone, it just simply means you have to spend more time practicing the control by leveraging a dialogue. And remember, if you really want to be great on the phone, stop giving information and start getting information.
Right.
You know, the only information I give them is that I tell them it was a good question, or I tell them I can help them with that.
Yes.
But I don't answer it. I don't answer it. Well, that's a great question. Oh, I can help you with that. Now, are these lessons for you or someone else? Yeah, so again, the more time you spend being deliberate with that conversation, the easier it will be for you to gain that control and provide the direction needed so they can make a good decision. That's win-win.
Yes. So here's what you want to write down if you can. When you see, because sometimes they will ask you a question because of your Facebook ads. Other times they just comment on the ad, which in my brain is ridiculous, because if they click on it, they'll see the website and the ad and the address and the phone number, but they'll ask the question instead, what's your address? Where are you located? What's your phone number? You know, all kinds of questions pop up. Our response is 100% the same every time. If you act quick, I don't know, Roman, is it 24 or 48 hours that you have to respond to those and be able to message? Do you know offhand?
For a
comment on a Facebook ad.
I mean,
because it disappears quickly.
A comment on an ad, I don't think there's a limit on that.
Well, no, okay, so let me go further.
If it's a messenger like thing that pops up, the messenger won't let you respond after 48, I think.
Yeah, and I think that, okay, so when a person comments on your ad, for example, how much after the 2 weeks, or what's your address, or what ages do you accept? If it's something I want to be public consumption, I will answer the question. Like, for example, what's your address? 5733 Marconi Avenue at Fair Oaks Boulevard. Sending you a DM now. Boom. Public post. If you act within the first 48 hours of their comment, you'll see there's a place where you can message them directly on Messenger as well. After 48 hours, it disappears. You can only comment publicly. So you want your alerts on, so you get notified when someone leaves a comment. And so if that, whatever the question is, how much is it after that? Well, I don't answer that directly because to address Mike's comment, price is always a concern until value is understood. And we'll come back to that in a minute, sir. But I'm not going to address price publicly. I'm going to say, hey, great question. I'm sending you a DM now. And then I'm going to message them directly. If they say, what's your phone number? Our phone number is 916-979-9155. Sending you a DM now. What ages do you start at? We start at 5 and above. Sending you a DM now. Whatever they ask, I'm going to answer. And then I'm going to finish it with sending a DM now. If they say, unless it's price. How much is it? Sending you a DM now. Just skip to the punchline. Now, then you're going to hit the message button. And I'm going to send them a message. I'm going to say, hey, Kevin, thanks for reaching out, ! To answer all of your questions and give you all of the information, comma, what's your best contact number? ? And the reason I'm so used to saying it like that, because usually I'm pressing talk to text in the car. And they will reply or they will not. And if they don't reply, they weren't interested enough. And if they do reply, well, then we call them and follow the phone dialogue so they can become a future black belt. And it really, that's the protocol that has been proven to work the best.
Let me take another stab at Mike. Hey, Mike, I appreciate your concern. Here we go. You never buy a sandwich without knowing the price. People have the right to know the price. Well, okay. But keep in mind, we sell the intangible. You can't have it, taste it, feel it, squeeze it. It's a relationship. So if price is their only concern, they may not be your client. So if, in discussing price, be enthusiastic about your trial offer. When I say we, I'm referring to the operation here in Florida. We're about to launch a different type of trial membership. It's going to be 6 weeks, 12 small group classes for $299. We're going to market that price. We're going to show them that price. And we're just going to experiment. We have deep pockets, so we can roll the dice a little bit. And we're going to see if that outperforms the 2 weeks for $20 or the free. When I say outperforms, not the number of people that respond, but the number of people that end up on membership. So as far as mentioning price, I think a lot of us do it because we want to cut to the chase and best qualify this person. So we don't want to waste our time. Well, whenever I hear people say that, what it typically indicates that they're not well trained as far as having the correct conversation to help people recognize the potential value of your membership. But what Master Pesky just said moments ago, you should write this down. Price is always a concern until value is understood. You know, price is what you pay, value is what you get. You've all heard that. But I don't want to discount someone's investigation by blurting out a price that may not be in alignment with what they think now. Because after we spend an hour with them in our academy, they're going to think a little bit differently about the potential impact this membership will have. So just be guarded. You know, so, and again, if they don't want to have a conversation with you, then you have very little chance of impressing upon them what your impact might be. So they ask for price, say, hey, I can help you with that. And then carry on with the dialogues that we use to best guide someone to a decision of membership. Mike, did that help at all? I don't think we've met. Mike, would you unmute yourself or pop on the camera? Maybe not.
Well, you know, what's interesting is we just in real time got one of those questions on our Natomas ad. And Cesar Perez says, how much per month after the 2 weeks? So guess what I did? I liked it. I just replied, hey, Cesar, sending you a DM now. And now I'm going to hit the message button and I'm going to send him the message. Hey, Cesar, thanks for reaching out, exclamation point. So I can get you all the information and answer all of your questions, comma, what's your best contact number? Question mark. Done. We'll see what happens.
If he calls, take the call for us, okay?
All right, we'll do.
To get the number, let's do the call in real time.
Okay.
All right, Mike. So I hope that helped because again, a lot of us think, well, the shortcut is cut to the truth, give them the real price, let them figure out on their own before they come in if they can afford it or not. But again, you're not serving people. And when I use the term serve, I mean helping them find out exactly how you could impact their lives. So my recommendation is skirt if you can, because again, price, schedule, what you teach, they sound like intelligent questions, but once you boil it down, you realize it really isn't. Sorry, gotta be in and out due to work. All right, great. All right, got it. All right, so do we have another question, Roman, or should we make one up?
Like we're making one up. What's something you heard earlier this week, or I guess last week?
Here's one. What should my cancellation policy be? Well, it can be whatever you like, but the last thing we want to do is hold someone to a membership agreement that they're not happy with. So I think everyone has to be clear on their cancellation policy and what the terms might be. My strong recommendation is this. They need at least a 30-day notice for two reasons. One, typically, that's what most people have experienced. But more importantly, now you can collect that final month of their training in advance. Mrs. Lewis, so take care of the initial investment. You're going to save $100, only $95. And of course, to begin your training, you'll need to invest in your first and last month's tuition. Last month's tuition, what's that all about? In the event that our program is no longer a perfect fit for your family, all you have to do is give us 30-day notice, and we've already taken care of that tuition. So you kill two birds with one stone. It's really interesting that 5, 10 years ago to do a month-to-month membership I frowned on it. Now I support it. And I support it because, again, we don't want people here that don't want to be here. But most importantly, we have to re-earn their business. And when you do a great job, you can always do what? You can upgrade their level of participation in your program by offering a different membership scheme where maybe they can come more often, or maybe an entirely different, more advanced membership or program. So if you're not collecting the last month, you're at a disadvantage for two reasons. Number one, you could have collected it. And second, it does open up the conversation about if this is no longer a perfect fit, how do they move away from you? The number one reason why people drop out of your membership is because they're not having an experience that is above and beyond the value that they're paying. And the way you help them realize they're progressing is by having it very easily understood how a student will not only participate in your program, but how they're going to be awarded recognition, i.e. rank. And the key to longevity in this membership is helping your students feel a sense of progress and giving them milestones. And that milestone could be something as simple as come to another class and you will have satisfied the requirement to get a stripe. That's how you keep people longer.
Yes.
I saw something pop up. What was it?
Mike's asking, for advertising, how should you spend? And is Facebook still a good advertising platform? Yes, it is. And how should you allocate your advertising budget? And is Facebook still an effective advertising platform? So again, yes, you want to advertise through the Meta Ads Manager, which will put you on Facebook and Instagram simultaneously. It's interesting because we used to just do Facebook. When they started allowing you to do both at the same time, we'd get some from Instagram. I think now we're getting maybe, what do you think, Roman, 30-40% from Instagram?
Yeah.
Instagram was getting strong, but all you have to do is use the ads manager and Facebook will take care of that for you. You don't have to decide which one you're going to put what budget. It's all under one budget. In fact, we have an entire workbook on how to figure out your what you can spend on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, to give it a good enough budget to see if the ads will work to begin with, I'd go 20 to 30 bucks a day. So that'll kind of pump enough gas into the tank to where you can see if you'll generate results. If you start with like 5 to 10, it really just doesn't give it enough juice to work with. And then after the ads are working and performing, what you want to see is the cost per lead that you're getting, and you want to see what your conversion rate into a new student is. And then once you have that, you can do the math on what it costs you to actually enroll a student. Say you're getting $25 leads, 1 in 4 come in and enroll. So that means it costs you $100 to get that student. And then if it costs you $100, you want to compare that to what you collect on day one. And you kind of want to get at least a 4-to-1 return on that. And then you know you're kind of in the right zone for being able to run profitable Facebook ads.
Yes.
And if you're not in that zone, that means you need to take a look either at your marketing to get cheaper leads, or what you really need to look at is your tuition and enrollment procedure so that you can collect more when they show up.
And the best way to collect more is to have an initial investment, a down payment that you can leverage a saving towards and make certain that that amount of money can cover your ad expense. On average, both here in Jacksonville and in California, on average, the membership fee paid is about $95 per. And that typically helps us recoup all the hard costs for marketing. There's a question by The Kick. It reads, if they do a single payment and then cancel, do you refund any monies? I'm a little confused by a single payment. But I think everyone should establish a no refund policy. Any monies paid for the academy are non-refundable. If you choose to allow people to take advantage and prepay a membership for a year or 2 years, 3 years, in that membership, because they're enjoying the savings, a percentage off, that discounts their ability to lay claim to any refund whatsoever. But just to establish a non-refund policy. Whatever monies you paid are not refunded. So in regards to the way this question reads, I'm a little confused by it. But if you establish this idea that if you take advantage of a savings, there's no refund, it will accomplish what you're trying to avoid.
Just
Did I
want
help
to
you out?
shout out the Kick is one of our newest black belt members.
Wonderful. Who is that?
You want to unmute yourself, sir? Introduce yourself to the group.
Hey, sir. How are you guys doing? I'm just in and out listening. So, yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I appreciate you guys.
And
Got
what
it.
is your
The question was just off of a prepay, if they did do a prepay
Right.
for like the black belt program,
Mhm.
but no refunds. I got it. Perfect.
Yeah, and it needs to be on your membership agreement. We have it on everything. On the PA, it says, "I understand there's no refunds of any monies paid to this academy." It says on the PA. It says it again on the membership agreement. I mean, it says it everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Even on the rank certification form, it says. I mean, it says it everywhere.
And as
Yes,
far
sir.
as people prepaying memberships, again, they need to be transparent. Just so as we understand, by taking advantage of this enormous savings, you do not have the ability to claim refund if for whatever reason you decide to drop off. I just wanted to let you know that. And, they're fired up. They'll do it.
Yes, sir.
No, you have to have a strict no refund policy.
Yep.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard, sir. Well, typically on these Mondays, people ask about the credibility of attendance-based rank certification. And what most folks are concerned with is, well, what are they learning? If you're simply handing out belts based on number of classes they take, well, let me answer the question. They're learning what you taught them. One of the things that we have to keep in mind is whatever qualifications you enforce with your students, certainly your prerogative. But the one thing I know, if a student shows up 300 times for class inside of a time span of 30, 36 months, they're going to acquire the skills needed to test for black belt. And of all the methods we've tried to keep people firmly involved in the program, second to none, attendance-based rank certification will keep students longer. And we've been doing it long enough to stand by that. So there you have it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's open this call for questions, comments, or concerns. Come on, guys. Let's go.
We got one from
What?
Joel Brown. We got, what do we do to mitigate a chargeback for a prepay?
Write a real contract and fulfill your obligation.
Yeah, I was going to say, keep accurate records, write a real contract, and nurture that relationship. For example, at what point did the chargeback happen? They enrolled. At what point did the chargeback happen? Melinda?
Hi guys, I'm just here in the background.
Hey, sir.
What's happened is that I've had a couple of people that have signed up for a monthly, and then they don't show up for a month, and then they don't show up the second month, and we're calling them and reaching out to them, but then we get this nice little chargeback on Watify saying, "Hey, you've been dinged for a chargeback," and so far we've lost both of them, even though I have a contract.
Okay. So there's a couple things. Number one, we used to never win chargebacks when they said fax in your proof. And now there's a digital format, and they have you upload stuff online.
Right.
And we haven't lost a chargeback since.
Yeah,
Now,
because I've uploaded twice now.
okay.
And lost them both. One was 3 months worth, which was a little over $1,000.
Yeah, that's
So ouch.
Yep.
And then the other one was just 1 month, which is still an ouch, but $300.
Did the company explain to you why they allowed that chargeback to go through?
They don't give me a reason other than they found in the card holder's favor.
Which billing company do you use for software?
No.
Stripe.
Stripe? Just Stripe, okay.
It could be the quality of your contract, how it's worded. Typically,
in the event that you're going month to month, you do have to have in writing that whether they participate in class or not, they are not entitled to a refund. I mean, it has to be stated clear.
yeah.
If you look at the membership agreements that we use on the backside, there's 4 or 5 articles that they have to initial, that
Right.
they clearly understand the terms of this agreement.
Right. So typically if someone, all right, so you guys know our protocol. If they're not there Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, they're getting a phone call and a text message. So having a paper trail is really important. So first you want to have a contract, a membership agreement, a contract that states how they can cancel, what they're responsible for, and how they, the fact that they must pay whether they use the lessons or not, they're responsible for the membership until they supply their written notice, right? And
Right.
so that way, like I know we had someone try to do a chargeback recently and we won it because they said, oh, well, we weren't going to the classes. And so we uploaded the membership agreement front and back. We uploaded a picture of their attendance card, which showed when they last attended. We uploaded screenshots of all the messages we had sent out to try to contact them. And we stated they have not followed the membership agreement outline of supplying their written notice to cancel the membership properly. Therefore, they're still responsible for the tuition payments as stated in the contract.
Yeah.
At which point the company said, okay, you win. And we got the money.
Leo, I'm sorry, were you finished?
Oh, go ahead. Yes, I'm done.
Leo, would you unmute yourself and explain your question, please?
Yeah, so my question is, so when I change my prices, I change it to a 3-month, 4 installments every 3 months with an initial investment. But then my question was kind of hearing, you guys are doing first month, last month on a monthly basis with the initial investment. I was just wondering which one kind of like plants better in the head, because 3 months compared to just first and last month, obviously it's 2 months compared to 3 at the upfront cost. So I was just saying which one kind of just gets parents or families in.
We want to create reoccurring income through monthly billing. So I understand what you've explained. So you collect 3 months in advance and you don't renew them again until after month 4. Is that what I just heard?
No, it is a contract. It was just every 3 months it's paid.
So they're not making monthly installments?
No, it's every 3 months. There's 4 installments every 3 months.
Okay, I'm a little slow this morning. So
It's
they're
just
making.
it's being billed quarterly.
Yeah,
A
they're doing
12-month
quarterly
contract
billing.
billed
Well,
quarterly.
I would discourage you from doing that starting today.
Because then you're asking for a bigger chunk and a bigger commitment every 3 months. They have to make another decision if they're going to pay that, whatever it is, 600, 750 bucks.
Yeah.
This is $200 or $250 per month is an easier pill to swallow.
Right.
750 or whatever it is every 3 months, right?
Mhm.
It's also easier to collect a prepay to get those monthly payments out of the way versus, well, I'll think about it in 3 or 4 months. But now I got to decide if I want to send them that much money again.
Well, here's something, Leo, when you hear, you think, oh, this guy's crazy, but it's just as easy to gain a 3-month installment prepaid as it is a 3-year. You just haven't asked for it. These people, if these folks are ponying up, how much? North of $1,000, $1,500? How much are they paying?
Matters per program, but I would say around $600-700.
Oh, that's not enough. So what's your tuition rate?
For the basic program, it's $169. For the black belt training, it's $229, and for the leadership program, it's $299.
Okay, that 169 you said, or 179, what was it?
169.
You got to break the 200 threshold. You know, in this day and age, as far as how sophisticated most martial art academies operate, the level of training provided on the floor and the instruction and the mentoring, you got to be north of $200 for a lot of reasons. One is that the moment somebody hears a premium price, they automatically assume that you're better than most. And it may take a while to kind of wrestle with this idea. And I know it was difficult for me way back in the olden times when we had to break that $100 threshold. But the truth is, you want to increase your prices for 3 reasons. You want to hear just the first one or all 3?
All 3.
Number 1 is you need more money. Everyone on this call needs more money. I'll be the first one to raise my hand. Yeah, I need more money. Second, we need to help our clients take our offer more seriously. And to do that, you got to dial up the money. But number 3 is this is the way you create a point of distinction in terms of how good you are at what you do. And this idea that my town won't pay this, my town won't pay that. I mean, Starbucks doesn't think that way. That venti caramel macchiato, it's $4.95 everywhere on the planet. So by charging more money, there is a 4th advantage. It changes you. It changes you. Pitching somebody for $179 that most people do it, that doesn't change you. But to start charging $200, $300, $400, $500 a month, and we do have those levels of tuition, it makes you go to work and roll up your sleeves and become a better presenter, a more responsible owner operator, and after all, a better instructor. The shortcut to become a better instructor is to be highly paid.
Right.
You got to break that threshold. And though it may seem difficult, I'd like someone on the call to chime in where you made a big leap in tuition and how it impacted you and why you would never turn back. Anyone want to volunteer what they've done?
I
Go
can't.
ahead. Oh, Miss Heather Stevens. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Go ahead.
Can't turn my camera on, but I, listen, I had the hardest time upping my tuition, and I think it was just a reflection of like, oh man, of how I view myself, and just like Master Peshke and Mr. Merton said, just do it. And in turn, by doing it, it made me work harder at the studio. It made me connect more with the families, and overall, my billing shot up, and I'm way happier. So it was hard to initially do it, but I'm really thankful that I did and got past that barrier.
Okay, now that you volunteered, let's continue the conversation.
Oh
Miss
boy.
Stevens, how many classes do you teach a week?
Um, I have 2 classes on Monday and 2 classes on Wednesday.
So 4 classes a week. Last year, you break 100,000.
Oh, I was just shy of 100,000.
Oh, whoa, wait a minute. You're teaching 4 classes a week, making 100 grand.
Yes, sir. Well,
Okay,
last year I only taught 2 classes a week.
Oh, so we're going to 200,000 this year. Okay, great. Leo, the pricing's in your head, brother. I'm telling you, this idea that we have to slow crawl to a price point that separates us from the pack, skip it. Matter of fact, do yourself a favor today, Leo, and I'm being sincere. Call around town, find out what people are charging, and be certain to charge more. Again, for 3 reasons. Number one, you need the money. Number next, take you more seriously. But third, perhaps the most important, is that you pony up the effort required to deserve that money. It changes you. It
Can I
changes.
add to that, sir?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
Once I started upping the tuition, the clientele that I have in my academy has changed as well. People that are going to afford and pay that much are just, they don't complain. They're highly invested. They're more likely to give more money. So upgrading is a lot easier. Pay in fulls is a lot easier. So it definitely changed the clientele in general.
Can I ask like what your base price is?
Yes, sir. So my basic program's 195. My black belt club is 220, and then my leadership is 250. But I started under 3 years ago, and I started at 125 a month. So I've made leaps uncomfortably, but thankfully with Mr. Mertens and Master Peshke pushing me.
We're proud of you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. In fact, we could spend a whole hour just talking about pricing, but the pricing you charge is in your head, guys. It's in your head. Well, we have programs here in Jacksonville. We have students paying a tuition rate of $530 per month to be part of a small group option. That's over $6,000 a year for martial art training. It's in your head. It's in your head. The truth is, no one here would surrender their martial art experience by accepting a check for $1 million, and you have to go back in time and never have enrolled. I mean, that's how valuable our program is. So by increasing prices, you collect more money. You are perceived a more polished, you're held in higher regard, but most importantly, it makes you pony up the effort required to deserve that. Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Thank you, Leo. All right, I saw a couple other questions pop up. Would you help us out, Roman? What are they?
Yes, we have Kyle is asking to share the membership agreement. That's going to be in the black belt program. And then Joel Brown was asking for that as well. And then Sensei Joe said, in response to charging higher prices, he said, "Ooh, yeah, better clientele and less headache."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think all of us should buy into this. Stop trying to be more affordable and decide you will become more valuable. And the shortcut to value in terms of perception from your audience is pricing. I have 2 pairs of glasses here. This one is $10. This one is $110, which is the better pair. Well, Fred, people don't think that way. Oh, yes, they do. They certainly do. I assume that if gas is more expensive in one station, it must be better than the next. And I know that it may not be the case, but most people are engineered to determine that price should and does in most cases reflect value. Charge more money, guys. Charge more money.
It does, when people think about it like this too. There's three things that people look for. Well, maybe more than that even, but some of the three things that people look at when they first come into your studio for the first time. What does it look like? Number two, who else is there? And number three, are you the one for them? How do you look? How do you act? How do you connect? So if the place is dirty and stinky, clean it up. Especially if your avatar is the new mommy, you've got to impress her. Simplify things, clean it up, make it smell right, make her feel comfortable. Number two, who else is in the building? We went through a phase about I don't know, we went through a phase post-COVID where everyone's getting free money. And we were getting a lot of people that were coming in and signing up, and they weren't our people. And it had an impact. There was a few people we had to invite to leave. They were coming in reeking of weed, or one guy was visibly drunk. And I remember the guy that was, you get a contact high if you're within 5 feet of him. I said, "Sir, you need to go outside." And he's like, "What? I want to watch my kid." I said, "You're in no state to support your child right now. You need to go outside." And in the future, when you come into the academy, I expect you to look right, act right, and smell right, if you understand what I'm saying. And he got offended. And of course, they turned in their cancellation. And I was thrilled. Good riddance. Because I know if I was bringing my child into a place and I have those kind of people that are in there, I'm not going to enroll. You're putting up roadblocks from enrolling the people that will make good clientele by allowing the bad clientele. And how do you attract the bad clientele? By being the cheapest guy in town.
Yeah.
If you charge a premium, you will attract premium clients. And some people are fearful of that because they think that they'll price themselves out of the market. A couple years ago, when we went from 200 to 250 a month, one of our guys, Master Matsumoto, he goes, "Oh, sir, you know what? I'll do whatever you say, but should we be concerned that we might be pricing ourselves out of the market?" And I said, "Well, let's find out. We can always change again." I said, "But think about it like this. If we charge a 25% increase, which is exactly what that was, we raised our prices by 25% from 2 to 250. Theoretically, you could actually enroll 25% fewer students and make the same amount of income. You wouldn't be losing money at all by signing up 25% less people." And he's like, "Ooh, never thought about it like that." I said, "So let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens. We can always adjust again." Enrollments didn't change a bit. Income went up by, guess what, 25%. It was significant. So number one, don't be afraid to try new things. And number two, attract the people that you want. And even, because chances are real good that most of the people that are with you now could pay what you want to charge. We just weren't prepared to ask for it. But they will behave differently. They'll act differently. They'll treat it with a greater reverence because you just made it more important. It's a bigger investment, and therefore they treat it more. There was a gentleman a year or so ago who's really good at this, at sales. And he goes, "If you want to create more value, increase your tuition." Now think about this for a minute. Go with me here. If you want to increase the value of your program, the shortcut is not to add more stuff. The shortcut is to charge more money. And let me explain why. Think about when you buy a brand new car. How well do you care for that car? You probably keep it real clean inside and out. You park it far enough away where no one dings it. You take extra special care of it because it has more value. Think about things that you've bought or owned in your life that you paid a premium for, you really cared for because it was more expensive. Now let's put that in our martial art training. Think about every time I've had plenty of people over the years that have paid in full for a big membership. And haven't you noticed how they're even more into it than they were before? All right. And I had this one dad who was kind of a pill until he wrote us a check for $7,500. And all of a sudden I had a new best friend. It's because he'd gotten over that hurdle in his mind and now he's fully committed. But here's the best part. The people that are really into your martial art, don't they get the most out of it? The people that are most excited and most into what you do always get the most out of it. So the shortcut to providing more value is to charge more money. When you charge more money, it becomes more valuable. They automatically become more into it. And because they're more into it, they're going to get more out of it. And you didn't have to do anything extra. You just had to adjust your thinking. It's genius. All right.
I'm going to address what Leo just mentioned, and I'll paraphrase. What if you do have guys showing up liquored up or smelling like weed? Well, I think we need to establish rules. We wrote a document some years back titled The 12 Secrets to Black Belt Parenting. And what it is 12 points as far as how a parent participates in our program. And one of them does talk about intoxication and how we just simply don't stand for it. So the rules you set are the rules you can expect, but the problem is we sometimes don't establish any rules. In the Black Belt section of our training, I think you can download that and knock it off however you like. But one of the challenges we sometimes have is that we know what the rules are, but they don't. And they'll only know what the rules are until you tell them. And so this little document, this 12 Secrets of Black Belt Parenting, is a real stealth way of allowing parents to understand how they can best participate and what behaviors need to be avoided. Yes, Master Likes, you want to contribute?
Yes. Sometimes you're afraid to offend somebody, but if you don't address it, instead of just losing that one person, you'll lose 10 people. Because the 10 people are going to quit because you didn't address that problem in your studio and do what's best for the rest of the members. So don't be afraid to, if someone smells or is acting inappropriate, you have to address it. Who said that it's like a naked waving a chainsaw? If someone was your studio and they were naked waving a chainsaw, you'd handle it right away, right? So you have to look at some of these issues the same way. You have to nip it in the bud and take care of it immediately.
Is that from experience or is that just from your imagination right there?
No, that's somebody we know from 30 years ago that me and Mr. Mertens know well that came up with that. That was Tom Callis who said that.
That's funny.
From 100 years ago. But it's true. You got to deal with it, guys. I had a member that smelled and was uncomfortable talking to them, but you have to do it. And the person did quit. But guess what? I had members coming up to me saying, thank you. Because you know what? The other members are just going to quit. They're not going to come up to you and say something. They're just going to quit.
You're going to lose the ones that you want because you
Yes.
get the one that was wrong.
Exactly.
The most powerful word you can use in having this conversation is this. Mrs. Lewis, we're a private academy, and our standards are set higher than most. So moving forward, we can't have this level of behavior. And then just tell them what the behavior is. If they had body odor, point it out. I mean, heck, I've got a whole bunch of stories we'll discuss over a couple of beers. But the truth of the matter is, how direct are you willing to be to protect your private academy? People just don't come and go willy-nilly. It's not Planet Fitness. I didn't mean to diss Planet Fitness, but Planet Fitness, do they have rules? They're supposed to. However, you go to a Lifestyle or what is it, Lifetime in Sacramento?
Lifetime, yeah.
Oh my goodness, you have to sign the rule book, and their tuition runs about $400 a month. So the point I want to drive home, we'll move on, is this: you're a private academy, and there's certain behaviors that are simply not allowed. And we're not going to afford anyone the luxury of bending the rules. So be very direct. And the truth is, people appreciate that.
Yes.
And there's one more thing I want to add. How you treat someone is how you perceived as treating everyone. So just decide your standard interaction you're going to have with your members and stick to it. Very good. Thank you, sir.
So, and think about your academy as being like your living room. If you came over with muddy shoes and walked all over the rug, wouldn't you say something? I sure would. Or if you brought your children over and let them run around and jump all over the furniture, I'm going to look at you to make your children behave. And if you don't, I will. It's my house. It's my house, my rules. And so we can't get in this desperation. Yeah, but what if they quit? I will gladly delete your $250 a month payment, because I know from experience that will cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. And the truth is, I don't want to be around those kind of people, and it's got to be fun for me too. See, I want to enjoy showing up to work every day. And if I've got people that are showing up that I don't enjoy, why enroll them? If they're not your people, don't sign them up. If they're not your people, don't invite them to stay. We have to make it good for us so that we can deliver the goods for them. All right, next question.
Let me go ahead and go with this one. Master Hackelman asked, do you raise the price of current memberships too? No, don't change the rules. You know, the only time you should raise tuition on your current members if they agree to sign on for more.
Right.
But whatever your tuition rate is, it's your rate. I think we need to keep our promises. However, you could scale their tuition, providing that you do offer them greater service or some degree of advantage. No, I'm not in favor of going back and saying, yeah, I told you this one thing, but we're going to do this other thing. It's a surefire way of just developing a level of distrust across your entire membership.
Yep.
But if you do lock people into a rate, well, they're locked into the rate.
So Ken asked, do you find it the same in regards to tuition, that the parent will pay more for their child as well as themselves, meaning when an adult comes in for themselves? Absolutely. We enrolled a 20-year-old kid last week. He couldn't afford to do the 3 payments of $996, and he couldn't afford to do the 6 payments of $498. So we broke it into 12 payments of $249, and he's in.
And maybe I should add this, ladies and gentlemen. There's only 3 ways to make the type of money that we sometimes daydream about, and here they are in the order of priorities. Number 1 is this: we have to enroll more students, and the shortcut to enrolling more students is always present the family membership first. Second, we need to charge more money. We have to charge more money for everything. This is how you change the perception of value, and this is how you ramp up your game. And the third thing is this. A lot of people don't realize, but you need to collect on promises faster. If somebody, I don't care if they're on an agreement, if they promise they're going to train till they're a black belt, I will invite them to prepay all their certification fees to save some money. Heck, if I'm having camps this summer after next, I'm going to sell this summer after next right now. If a person just signs on an agreement to agree to make 48 installments, I'm going to invite them to pay that faster by saving money. So here it is again. You got to enroll more students. You need to charge more for everything and collect on promises faster. What was that next question that popped up?
Guru Joe just said he agrees. Position under the rules and expectations is important. Yes. Justin just asked, what if we have a benefit that applies to all members? Could you, in theory, raise everyone's tuition by a small amount?
Of course. Of course. But I think people need to be forewarned. They can't you can't send them a late notice that they didn't pay the increase if you haven't spoken about it. So if you're going to roll something out, I think you have to be really clear in your communication as far as what you're doing. The go-to is an annual increase. You know what's interesting is a lot of people have been charged the same thing forever. And if you go back 10 years, matter of fact, we just did the math. We're helping a couple of guys out in England, and they're charging the same tuition now that they did some, what was it, Roman, 15 years ago?
It was 18 years ago.
Would you give I just butchered the presentation, but would you share what we pointed out?
I don't have the exact numbers, but it was somewhere, I think it was greater than a 30% discount, basically, because they hadn't increased their tuition with the rate of inflation.
Yeah, it was like, so like they kept it at 100 where it should have been like 170, something like that. So, the cost of living does go up, and there is inflation. There are other considerations. I don't know about you, but I know half the leases we have in Florida, there are incremental increases in the CAM charge as well as the rent. So you can do that, but it has to be within the definition of the membership. And that's why it's so important to make sure everyone is on some kind of an agreement. Even if they're going month to month, they have to be on some kind of agreement about the terms. And of course, we can speak more about that if that presents a challenge for you.
There was one day we were talking about rank certifications. What was your rank certification, Master Mertens, when you started?
What, back in the olden times?
Yeah, back in the old days when they had wagons?
$15 per test.
We Googled what $1 is worth now compared to then. And at our current rank certification of $75, it came out to be the same. It came out to be exact, actually.
Just by luck, yeah.
Just because of the rate of inflation from 19, whatever it was, to today.
1901.
19, back in 1883. No.
All right, Justin, what's your question, sir? I saw you move.
Yeah, so I guess it's theory. It's not really theory right now, but we've been working for the past few months of creating an online platform for our students to be able to go the extra mile, train at home, train anywhere. Yes. Only our students have access to it, but I've been struggling figuring out how to be able to increase the tuition across the board and give everyone access for it.
I would give them two options. They can train month to month. They can leverage this platform month to month, or they can prepay for 12, 18, 24 months.
How do you go about letting everyone know that the tuition's increasing because we are adding this benefit?
Well, are they currently on the platform?
No, so we have like a limited 15 videos that we put out for free so everybody could see what it was like.
I like
and
it. Yeah.
Going forward, because the school that I train at, like my coach's gym, we have like multiple UFC fighters, so they're also going to be special guests on here.
Oh, cool. That's great.
That's kind of something that you can't get, things like that. So the idea is that we're going to charge them for this special platform because I'm going to teach techniques. We're going to have live classes on there where they can review what we're. There's
they get more. They get more.
They get more, and they also get special guests that they normally wouldn't get to see. But how do you go about?
What's the rate going to be?
I had no clue. At this point, I was thinking like $9.99, like one of those little subscriptions to an app, because it does come with an app where they can get an app and click on it and watch the videos at home.
Well, leverage it using scarcity, where for the first 100 students is this rate. Beyond that, it's whatever rate, and then put a timeline on it. The tuition rate for this program of $9.99 until, then give them a time until July 1st.
Would you make it optional, like they get to choose if they want to add that on, or is it something like?
Oh, for now, I'd give it optional. In the future, it can be a premium added to a program. But there is something. In fact, I just fell for this the other day. I have a young lady who's worked with me, and she didn't have Microsoft Suite or whatever that's with the Word and Excel and all that. And I said, I'll take care of it for you. And anyway, the gal that uploaded it said, well, it's only $12.99 a month. I said, well, I'm in. And I threw the credit card down like I'm a high roller. I just got hit with a bill for $155.88. It was a different kind of $12.99.
Paid annually.
Give them the option. So whenever you roll out additional services, make it optional. But to get more people to take action, you got to leverage scarcity. Like there's got to be a sense of urgency. The tuition is X until Y. And whatever you get, whatever you accomplish first, whether it's the set number of students who dial into that training or a deadline. But I think you'd be surprised the number of studios who do really well with an online platform. And though it appears to be easy, keeping up with it, well, good luck, sir. I wish you all the best.
It could be especially good too if you're allowing students to progress based on attendance, and they can count that as additional attendance.
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, you have a lot of people who tell them, hey, this is the way you can accelerate your rate of training. You get specialized classes, you have guests, you have all these things, and it's only X amount of dollars per month. So it's like your existing members is like an ancillary program they can add on. Like Master Merton said, make it optional for right now for only X amount of, the first 100 people get it for this rate, then it goes to this rate to create some urgency.
Yeah, Grandmaster Clark has plugged in this pretty unique offer where when students participate in camps or additional seminars, there's a number of class attendance credits awarded for that participation. So you can leverage that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you suggest with new members not making it optional, like new members, you just explain the tuition and that tuition includes this additional benefit?
I would certainly do that. And I would say one of the advantages of this membership is our online training and practice. Oh, you're going to love it. And just dial it in. Yeah. But again, but keep in mind, like coming to class, we also have to make certain they show up on the platform. So there does have to be some type of attendance effort to make sure they're using it.
Yeah, we had them check in on our Facebook page when they did a remote class and like either a selfie or something to get them credit for those classes.
Yeah.
Well, again, don't overwork yourself, guys.
All right. Last question here. Eric says, you mentioned the cost of advancement, but I've heard you say in the past you promote at the end of class. How does this work? Every time a student gets the second stripe on their belt, we do 3 stripes and then the belt. Every time a student earns their second stripe, we run the card for their rank certification. We currently charge $75 for each rank advancement for all the color belts. And so we still charge what we used to call a belt testing fee. Is we just term it as a rank certification fee. Every time they get their second stripe, we run the card so that their belt is always there when they're ready to earn it. And then, yes, we give it to them at the end of class.
So create that separation in terms. Testing implies they're going to get up in front of the firing squad and hope they survive.
Yeah.
Certification implies that they satisfied the necessary requirements, and what we're tracking is a participation effort in class. Now, as far as awarding the belts, I tell you, this will lend credibility to your program. It creates the social proof that your academy really is delivering on the promise of great training and advancement. And again, it's not a dog and pony show. We don't, pop the flares or anything. We simply call the student up to class, in front of the class. We bow them in, tie the belt, done. A lot of academies here in Jacksonville, it's pretty interesting what they're doing now. They're inviting the parent to come out to the practice floor and award their child their belt. And I think that's an additional level of impact that can be felt. So certification, not testing.
Yes. All right, let's do some quick takeaways here. We're just about out of time.
Yeah, and what we're looking for is that one idea. You go, oh, now I get it. I'm going to go ahead and put that in play. I need 3 of them to let you guys go. 3 takeaways. Master Hackelman, what do you got for me, sir? I'm calling you out.
The first one is the value. Just that. I mean, that's, to be honest, that's our biggest of the whole program, is just the value and being okay with charging more. And, we also have, guys coming in and special guests, UFC guys and, martial art guys. But just the day in and day out value that we're providing everybody with, I think that's our biggest takeaway from today.
Yeah.
This whole program, really.
Yeah, can I add to this just a bit? A lot of folks, they don't charge more money because they're not sure what more they could do. And I think you should charge more money so you will do more. And when I say do more, I'm not talking about offering more classes. I'm talking about being more considerate, more dynamic, more direct in class. Teaching a class for $50 is a whole lot different than teaching a class for $500. And by increasing prices, 3 things happen. You collect the money you need and deserve to run your business. You change your client's mind about how valuable your program actually is. I mean, nobody brags about being in the cheapest karate school on the planet. But the third thing it does, it changes you. To sell a membership for $399 requires a better you to show up. And if you want to change the performance of your staff, increase tuition.
Mm-hmm.
2 more takeaways and we'll let you free. Leo, I really appreciate your participation today. So you tell me what to away with.
I am raising my prices. I'm going to go right up. I decided that my basic
program. Go ahead
program
and say it. Say it out loud. Say $199. Let me hear you say it.
No, not $199. It's going to be $209. $209 is the first price. Yeah, so I already beat you right there.
You have a right.
Good job.
So I'm going $209, $259, and then I'm going to keep the $299 for the leadership program. So that's what I'll be doing. And I'm switching. I'm going to re-switch from, because I was doing month to month, and I did the 3-month. So I'll go right back to the month to month and just forget about that 3-month thing. So yeah, raising prices.
Yeah, because what you're doing, you're re-asking them every 90 or so days to make a considerable investment. Let's get the commitment, charge a fair tuition that obviously represents your value, and go for it. What about our Krav Maga friends in the big city of San Francisco? What's your takeaway, Miss?
I think our big takeaway is setting up the contracts for success, and how much value they're getting upfront. So we're definitely going to find and download that black belt training.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. Okay, well, take us out, Master Peshke.
Hey guys, all of you guys that are members in our Black Belt group, we'll see you all tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And anyone's on the call that is not in the Black Belt group and wants to find out more about it, Roman, can you drop the link in there and click the link, schedule a free call, and we'll tell you how it works and how it can help you. And
I just got to say, it's worth it.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Leo. Appreciate that.
All right.
Congratulations, everyone. We'll see most of you tomorrow. Have a great day.